Le'Veon Bell, we talked about the shape he's in, 210, 215 pounds, 4% body fat. He is showing that ability to make people miss in the open field, and you like to see that.
So Sunday's practice was an eventful one, but there was almost no Sunday practice at all because the NFL had a false positive COVID scare where the Jets had 10 false positives, according to head coach Adam Gase.
Yeah, and they had to cancel walkthrough on Saturday, and Gase talked to the players and said, hey, stay close to your phones. And that's what Dan Brown said. He told them, we got to clear out the building, and the Jets took the proper protocols as they have throughout training camp. But anytime you have 10 positive tests for COVID-19, you got to press the brakes and then see what's happening with the situation. So the guys got out of here quickly, and the Jets didn't even know. Gase said Saturday night he basically didn't get a lot of sleep because when you're a head coach, you're planning for every situation, every practice. He didn't know they were going to be on the practice field on Sunday. They found out about 5 o'clock Sunday morning after these guys were retested that those were, in fact, false positives, so the Jets were able to get the work in on Sunday. I like what Ryan Griffin said, Ethan. Said that we have to roll with the punches right now. Everybody in the world is dealing with a lot of things, and we have to deal with the uncertainty of playing through this and practicing with this. And I thought the Jets did a fine job organizationally and then team-wise getting back on the field Sunday and just missing the one walkthrough.
I think really what you saw Saturday into Sunday was how quickly things could change down the road with the uncertainty of COVID. I mean, we've seen it throughout, and I don't know if you saw this, but the now Las Vegas Raiders and John Gruden sent out a message early in training camp where one of his assistant coaches was like, hey, listen, coach has COVID, and all the players were supposedly pretty shaken up, and then Gruden was like, no, I don't, but it was like a weird football tactic. He's like, no, I don't have it, but that's how quickly things could change, and of course, Eagles head coach Doug Peterson had to miss some time, but I think Saturday was just a small taste of what could happen and how quickly things could change down the road.
Yeah, and Adam Gase said, he was asked by the New York Post, Brian Costello, what if this happened in the regular season? Is it better that it happens now? And Gase surely said, yeah, it probably is better that it happens now, but I don't want to look too far ahead. Right now, in the current climate, what the world is dealing with, what the New York Jets are dealing with, what the NFL is trying to pull off, you have to take everything day to day, and you have to be able to adjust and thrive in that environment.
You mentioned Ryan Griffin said the team has to roll with the punches. Well, somebody that's rolled with the punches rather well in his short career with the Jets, that's cornerback Bless Austin. And for more on him, let's head to our Field Pass segment presented by Toyota with Olivia Landis. Liv, good morning.
Good morning, Ethan and EA. How's the studio this morning?
It's pretty good. I imagine it's pretty hot and humid out there on the field, no?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a very hot day today. But you did mention cornerback Bless Austin, and he is someone who came to the New York Jets. He was drafted in the 2019 NFL Draft, 6th round. He came out of Rutgers, and he is a cornerback who had a little bit of an unusual start to his season. He started out on the physically unable to perform list, was not able to become activated until halfway through the season. Now, Coach Denard Wilson, the defensive backs coach, was asked yesterday a couple days ago by reporters what exactly that he wanted Bless Austin to work on this offseason. He said the biggest thing with this young cornerback was his situational awareness. He said that is one thing he wanted to hone in on this offseason. He said so far in training camp, he's seen him ask the right questions. He's seen him become a lot more confident in his second year. He said he will even ask me, Coach, where do you want my eyes to go? Where exactly do you want me to be looking? Now, Bless Austin actually talked to the media the other day as well. He reiterated what Coach Wilson had said and said, situational football is exactly what I was working on this offseason. He said, I know it was one of my weaknesses, but I came into training camp knowing that is something I worked on. He said one of the most interesting things he did this offseason was actually rewrite plays. That way he was able to better understand the other positions on the field. Either way, he came into training camp in his second season a lot more confident.
Liv, let's talk about situational awareness. We saw that over the weekend. The Jets had a late half situation, and there was a big box fade, as Denard Wilson called it, where Brashad Perryman lined up inside, and Bless Austin had him. Tell us what happened there, and also can we go back to situational, maybe lack of awareness his rookie season against the Pittsburgh Steelers when he was benched for that. But that play in camp, I think, is showing the progression we're seeing from this young corner in his second year.
Well, you said it right there. That is just proof of the progression that he's made in his second season so far. Really night and day with those two different situations. You talked about him getting the pick on Sam Darnold with wide receiver Brashad Perriman. When Coach Denard Wilson was asked about that specific play, he said, honestly, it was just really good football. It was proof that he's been working on his situational awareness this offseason, and you saw that here in training camp. Now, as far as when he got a little bit roasted last year against the Pittsburgh Steelers, something that Denard Wilson said he loves about Bless Austin is the fact that he is able to really just move on and scrap mistakes. Bless Austin talked about it. He said there's no point in really going over and over a mental mistake that you make because none of your teammates want to see you feel bad about you getting burned on a play. So he said he was able to flip the page, and that's something he really respects about the second-year cornerback.
Awesome, Liv. Appreciate it. We'll check in with you later on in the show. And EA, let's talk about Bless Austin here for 1 second. I think it's really impressive just his demeanor and the way he addressed the media about that situation in Week 16. He said, look, that's probably a necessary evil for me. He learned so much from that. And to be a young guy, to start on the physically unable to perform list after 2 ACL tears at Rutgers, and to be able to finish the season rather well, I think that it shows a lot about Bless Austin.
Yeah, in the Pittsburgh Steelers game, we go back, the Jets had a lead. There's 9 seconds left in the half. The Steelers didn't have any timeouts left. Deontay Johnson got behind him and beat Austin for a touchdown. But again, we're seeing the steps. He's got great athletic ability. He's long. You like that as a corner. He's also very physical. And Ethan, he's got a great opportunity this year. Pierre Desir battling a hamstring injury right now. Hopefully he gets back on the practice field soon. Brian Poole dealing with some dehydration issues. Right now, Bless Austin's kind of the veteran in the mix, and he has a great opportunity to start on the outside. And you'll like that he's taking to the coaching, and you'll like his attitude. And I think the best is yet to come for this guy. Again, rangy corner. He can get in your face. He can press, and I think he's got good ball skills.
And he's long. He's got long arms. He's pretty tall. He's over 6 feet. You mentioned Desir and Brian Poole. That leads us to our injury update presented by on Training Camp Live, presented by Atlantic Health System. The list is going down a little bit here and there. These are the players that did not practice on Sunday. 2 guys stand out. The first guy, linebacker Patrick Owasso, went down non-contact knee injury the other day. That's typically very bad news, but the good news here is that there's no ligament damage, no timetable on his return. But the guy I want to highlight is actually at the top of the list, Josh Adams, because the Jets earlier this morning signed a running back, Pete Guerrero, out of Monmouth, a burner.
Pete Guerrero led all of FCS last season rush yards, and here he is, number 38 on the practice field. That transaction was made minutes before the green and white took the field this morning. So a good point there about Josh Adams, who actually has had a very impressive camp. The Jets running back stable, we talk about Le'Veon Bell. Frank Gore is playing like he's a kid out there. He's so impressive. And then LaMichael Piron, as we watch Guerrero. LaMichael Piron, a rookie out of Florida, so fluid, so natural as a pass catcher. You don't see that from a lot of rookie running backs coming out, but he can catch it, he can block, he can run between the tackles. I don't know how many ultimately reps he'll be getting because you're playing behind both Bell and Gore, But P. Ryan has stood out to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Le'Veon Bell actually said, well, Michael P. Ryan, this might hurt your feelings, EA. He's not an SEC runner. He's more of a Big Ten guy.
No, I'm good with that. That's nice.
One quick thing on Guerrero, look out for if he has a special teams role early on. He did run track at Monmouth. He was a 100-meter and 200-meter champion in the outdoors in the MAAC. Averaged 29.9 yards per kick return.
The Jets calling up Monmouth early and
Yes, they
often
are.
over the past week. Chris Hogan joins the roster. Guerrero's now on the team. Who's next?
I guess we'll find out. I don't know how much there is to choose from. That's not a knock on Monmouth, though. Okay, real quick. The Jets are getting healthier, though. Ryan Griffin, Daniel Brown, Avery Williamson, all off of the physically unable to perform and the non-football injury list. Now on the active roster, and let's focus on number 54, Avery Williamson, because he's a guy that I don't think we talk about enough. He's going to be a big piece to this defense. And I understand why C.J. Mosley's talked about over him because of his value to this team, even when he got hurt last year being Mosley. But Avery Williamson in his first year with the Jets was extremely productive. He was actually a tackling machine for the Green and White.
120 tackles led the defense in 2018. He also had 3 sacks. And among those tackles, 6 for loss. I asked Frank Bush about Avery Williamson in the offseason. He said, effort and toughness. He flies around and he hits people. He's constantly going. You have to like that about him. He's a smart kid. He makes good decisions on the football field. But the effort, chasing guys down, that's his calling card. That's what he's really good at. And it's a very positive sign for the Jets to get Avery Williamson on the field because Mosley opted out due to family reasons. So he was excited to get back on the field. And we talked about CJ a lot here, and we hope him and his family are doing well. But the Jets are dealing with some injuries at the inside linebacker position. We saw that on the report before. Burgess has the lower back, and then Owaso's got the knee. So while he escaped ligament damage, he could be out a little bit.
The one thing about the linebacker room that I think maybe we should talk about is that in theory, with Williamson back, that group is a better position than they were last year. You think about this time last year, Avery Williamson got hurt probably a couple weeks ago in August,
Against
a year
Atlanta,
ago,
that
against
preseason
Atlanta.
game, yeah.
And Frank Bush said that about that time, Avery Williamson really started to come in on his own in practice, and then he actually had a really good game before he got hurt against the Falcons. He was flying around. He had a sack of Matt Ryan, and right now, Neville Hewitt is benefits from Avery being back because last year Neville was the backup Will linebacker to the starting Mike linebacker within like 10 days.
Yeah.
And now with Williamson back and Hewitt back, those two should make to be a very formidable group right now.
Yeah, and you thought all along last year was going to be Mosley the Mike linebacker and Williamson the weak side linebacker. And then Avery went down. Of course, CJ goes down in week 1. But the other guy that we're forgetting about a little bit here in the equation is Cashman. We go back to him. He is a very gifted athlete. He's very gifted athletically, and he can help you out in coverage situations. He's working really hard to be a better run defender as well.
One unit that I don't think we've talked about here in Training Camp Live presented by Atlantic Health System in any of our shows, that's special teams. And right now, we have a kicking competition on our hands between Sam Ficken and Brett Maher.
Ficken last year, what was he? I want to say I'm looking up the numbers.
70%, 70.4%.
Yeah, 70%. Yeah, and he also had the 44-yard game winner against Miami. There's a pressure situation. Maher, his accuracy dipped last year, was over 80% in 2018 Greens, and then went to about 67% last year. So Maher's got the big leg. We've seen him hit 62, 63 yarders in regular season games, but for him, it's always been a question of accuracy, where Ficken, at least last year, the body of work says he has been the most accurate kicker recently.
You mentioned Maher's leg. Back-to-back seasons, over 60-yard field goals, pretty good.
Yeah.
The one thing about his accuracy, his field goal percentage dips, but he's only missed a single extra point in 2 seasons with the Cowboys. So his extra point percentage is like 98%, which is very good. And one thing about special teams as a whole, they might be the most impacted by the lack of a preseason, because special teams, you have to go 150% at all times, and you can't really do that out on the practice field against your own teammates.
Brant Boyer talked to the media this week, and he said that kicking competition could come down to the end, but this puts more of an emphasis on the scrimmage.
Yep.
Whenever the Jets do have the scrimmage coming up, game-like situations, because like you just mentioned, these guys don't have the opportunities to play in front of the lights this summer as we look at Ficken right now here as the Jets get practice underway. But, you know, that's the thing. You have to step up during the scrimmage, because 4 preseason games off the table this year. And you obviously got to practice well, but sometimes in practice you're not going 100% speed, because that's a high collision industry, special teams.
Yes, it is. Brant Boyer actually had very nice things to say about Braden Mann, the rookie punter, and then also keep your eyes on kick returner. Vincent Smith was slated to be that guy. He's out 5 to 8 weeks with a core surgery. There's a platoon of guys right now practicing, and like EA said, heavy emphasis on the scrimmage whenever that'll be.
I'm wondering if Ashton Davis, if you played a game tomorrow, would he be your number 1 guy at the kick return position?
Yeah, I think he's definitely in the running. He's one of the guys. He returned kicks at Cal a little bit, also had an average of 29.9 yards per return. And let's talk about the offensive line, because this is a position that we've hit on Mekhi Becton, we've hit on specific guys, but as a whole, this is a much different unit. And it's kind of hard to see, but at the top of the screen right now, there's number 72. That's rookie Cam Clark participating in individuals for the second time this training camp.
Yeah, and that's a good sign, and hopefully he gets back to team participation soon. He dealt with that shoulder early on in camp. 4th-round pick out of Charlotte. Obviously, much of the attention in terms of draft picks who are offensive linemen has rightfully so went to Mekhi Becton, who's lining up there and getting reps early with this offensive line. But, yeah, Clark back in the lineup, back in the mix. And another guy that we haven't talked about enough, I think, is a free agent addition from the Indianapolis Colts.
Josh Andrews.
Yep.
Josh Andrews is a versatile piece for the offensive line. He's played guard, center. He's kind of like Jonathan Harrison in a way. He can play any spot in the interior. And really quickly, it's good news here for the Jets. You saw number 75 practicing. Chuma Edoga actually left practice early the other day with a calf injury. It's good to see him healthy. But Josh Andrews has been impressive. He's very top heavy. He's got broad shoulders, where Jonathan Harrison is almost kind of like Connor McGovern. He's like a slim 300. I don't even know if that's a thing, but I think those two guys are rather nimble.
Yeah, listen, Andrews provides that depth and versatility, and that was the common theme here throughout the offseason, is how can you add to the offensive line, not only in terms of what you're bringing starters-wise, but flexibility and versatility. Can these guys play multiple positions? And Andrews so far has looked good coming over, and we haven't talked about him enough because you just had so many guys that Douglas brought in to this remodeled offensive line room.
All right, let's wrap things up here with another edition of the Hurry Up Offense. Let's bring back Olivia Landis. All right, here we go. So this is the Hurry Up Offense. 3 questions, 2 minutes per question. We're going to start with who will lead the Jets in sacks? Are you taking Jordan Jenkins or are you taking the field? We're going to start with EA. We're going to go to Liv, and then I'll wrap things up for this one. Let's bring on the clock. Here we go. EA, let's go.
Okay, so I studied this last night. Terrell Basham, 4 career sacks. Quinton Williams, he's looked really powerful, explosive in camp. 2.5 sacks as a rookie. Henry Anderson had 7 sacks 2 years ago. Kyle Phillips is a guy who's kind of went under the radar. Maybe he could pitch in 4 or 5 sacks. Marcus Mays getting down there, getting some play inside the box, and you know he's going to be sent on some blitzes to the quarterback. But I got to go with Jordan Jenkins. I mean, he's had 15 sacks the last 2 years. He had 8 last year. I think he probably would have had double digits. I look for every possible reason to take somebody else, but Jordan Jenkins is the pick.
All right, Liv, we got under a minute 20. Where are you going with this?
I think I'm going to have to go with the field, and the only reason I'm going to say that, it's not because I don't have confidence in Jordan Jenkins, because he did lead the team in sacks last year, 8 sacks, and the year before tied it with Henry Anderson. But I just think that there are so many talents along that defensive line. Even Greg Williams said it. He said it's the smartest defensive line he's ever coached. So I think with so many talents, I'm just going to go with the field. I think combined, they might be able to slide just a little above Jordan Jenkins.
Wow, all right. Liv taking the field, EA taking Jordan Jenkins. I hate being the tiebreaker. I really hate it. So I think.
Well, you're smiling.
I know, because I don't like it. I think I'm going to go with Jordan Jenkins too. And I understand, Liv, where you're coming from. I just feel like Jordan Jenkins, the past 2 seasons, one, he led the team in sacks last year, and the year before that, he tied for the team lead in sacks in 2017 with Henry Anderson. So I feel like Jordan Jenkins, if you look at his track record, his sack production has increased each year from his rookie year to current. I think maybe this is the year where JJ might get double digits. What do you guys think about that?
I like it. That was my pick.
All right. We're moving on here. We actually had 3 seconds to spare. That was pretty good. Question number 2, Liv, I'm coming to you first before I'm going to EA and then myself. Who will lead the Jets in receptions in 2020? Clock starts now. All right, EA, you go.
Nope. I'm up? All right.
You're up.
Listen.
I'm going to receiver Jamison Crowder. I know. It's kind of a typical answer, but the reason why I'm going to go with him is because he led the team with 833 receiving yards last year, had 6 total touchdowns. I think that he's an old dependable. We've already seen his talents. We've already seen the way he's able to connect with quarterback Sam Darnold. That's carried over into their second training camp together. So I'm going to go with wide receiver Jamison Crowder.
All right, EA, you're up. Minute 24 on the clock and running.
Not only did Crowder have 78 receptions last year, he was targeted 122 times. 122 times. Brashad Perryman has looked good. He's got a chemistry going with Sam Darnold, but his career high in receptions was 36 last year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Chris Hogan's making plays on the field. His career high in receptions, 41. Chris Herndon is back. Sam Darnold loves throwing to his tight ends. He had 39 receptions his rookie season. To me, this is a 2-horse race, though. Le'Veon Bell. It doesn't have to be receivers leading your team in receptions. I think Le'Veon Bell, since some of those targets Jamison Crowder got last year might be going to some of the aforementioned guys I just mentioned, I'll take the guy out of the backfield.
Okay, so we have Jamison Crowder, we have Le'Veon Bell. I'm not going to go with Chris Herndon. I'm actually going to choose Jamison Crowder as well for this reason. I understand the dynamic between Le'Veon Bell and Jamison Crowder in the sense that they get a lot of volume, but I think with the newfound depth in the backfield with Michael Pirine and Frank Gore, I think Jamison Crowder might be on the field a little more frequently in the long run than Le'Veon Bell. All right, let's wrap things up here on the Hurry Up Offense. One more question. I'll kick things off. Then we'll go to Liv. Then we'll wrap things up with EA. Most memorable training camp moment. And so mine came my first year in the Jets. Clock starts now. Let's get it rolling. 2016, we're standing in the corner of the end zone, meaning EA and I are in the corner of the end zone. Ryan Fitzpatrick throws a zip right to Quincy Enunwa. Marcus Williams, outstretched left hand, knocks the ball away. Myself, cat-like reflexes, boom, one-handed grab with the ball, toss it back to Quincy Enunwa. That was my most memorable training camp moment. It was a high-pressure situation, and I came through.
It's always about greens. I will tell you, the players probably watched that on film and were impressed. Nice job.
Okay. All right, Liv, what's your most memorable training camp moment? You have a minute 22 now.
Ethan, yeah, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I thought that my training camp moment was just going to be here a few minutes ago because the running backs were running some drills. They came very close to me, so I thought I was going to get knocked out for the very first time on live TV. But it's okay. Didn't happen. I'm going to have to go with 2017, my very first training camp ever. Nothing funny, nothing crazy, but my very first day that I reported, my first day with the Jets, was the very first day at the start of the 2017 training camp. I had no idea that people wore, actual normal clothes like polos, T-shirts, shorts. I showed up in business pants, a little long sleeve T-shirt, and I have never been more hot in my life. It was the biggest wake-up call. never again to wear pants to training camp.
And now,
Lesson learned.
And now you're wearing polos and shorts, so lesson learned there.
I put that on the executive producer here at Jets 360, Chris Gargano. That's his bad.
All right, EA, wrap things up. What's your most memorable training camp moment?
I guess I got two. In my first training camp in 2000, I was working for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when I was 4 years old. If we're talking about ages here, and I got a chance to meet.
Wow, we got photos.
I got a chance to meet a sitting president, the 42nd president of the United States, and I was a government and politics major. Undergrad, so I'm not talking about anything politically here. I just respect the office, so that was pretty cool. And then 2008, I'll never forget it, when the Jets traded for Brett Favre, a conditional pick to the Green Bay Packers, and we were at Weeb Eubank Hall at Hofstra University, and the excitement that was felt on the field and throughout the stands, people lining up, was just amazing. And I'll never forget Nick Mangold talking about how nervous he was to hike the ball to a future Hall of Fame quarterback in Brett Favre. And that summer was just a memorable run because it really brought the fans so close to the action. And there was a palpable buzz around this team. And that was a special camp, I think.
Okay, so the hurry-up offense was a little slow. That's our fault, but I think it was worth it. We saw EA with Bill Clinton. That was awesome. All right, that's all we have here on Training Camp Live, presented by Atlantic Health System. Many thanks for watching. Thank you to Earth Camp for additional coverage, and we'll be back here later this week.